Week 6, some starts, some sits, right now on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, I'm Adam Azer with Heath Cummings. Let's talk first about the quarterbacks, right? We have Spencer Rattler for the Saints. They're facing Tampa Bay. We've got Aidan O'Connell going up against Pittsburgh, and we've got Drake Maye going up against Houston. What is your philosophy with the pass catchers for New England, New Orleans, LOL, and for the Raiders?
So, yeah, I don't care about the pass catchers for New England. I am significantly downgrading the pass catchers for the Saints, and I think it's relatively lateral for the Raiders.
Okay. What do you think about the Colts passing game right now with Michael Pittman out? And what do you think about the Texans passing game with Nico Collins out?
So Stefon Diggs is a must-start wide receiver. I'd view Downs as pretty close to must-start as well if Joe Flacco starts. If Anthony Richardson starts, then Downs is just an upside wide receiver 3. Upside wide receiver 3 is probably how you should view Tank Dell as well. You could throw a dart at Alec Pierce or Xavier Hutchinson, Pierce first, or even A.D. Mitchell.
So let's talk about the games that we just discussed on our start sit for AFC home games, which if you listen to the show, I screwed up the games pretty badly, but that's okay. Washington is at Baltimore. Give me your starts and sits.
So you start both quarterbacks with confidence. You start Derrick Henry, obviously. I'm starting both Zay Flowers and Terry McLaurin. Brian Robinson, if he goes, is a low-end RB2. Austin Eckler is a high-end flex. If Robinson is out, then I'd probably view Eckler as a low-end RB2 and Jeremy McNichols as a high-end flex.
Okay, Buffalo at the Jets starts and sits.
Likely over Ertz over Andrews. Buffalo at the Jets. You're probably starting Josh Allen, but he's not a top 8 quarterback for me. I'm starting James Cook as long as he's okay, and I'm starting Breece Hall once again. Braylon Allen's a high-end flex. I am starting Garrett Wilson as a number 2 wide receiver, but it's a little bit scary. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid as a low-end starting tight end. Conklin's a fine stream if you need him.
All right, let's talk about the Colts and the Titans, which is an interesting game, at least from Tennessee's perspective, because the Colts defense has been so bad. Can the Titans take advantage of that? Tony Pollard is Jamie's start of the week. Who do you like in Colts Titans?
I like Tony Pollard a lot. I like Calvin Ridley a little. If Anthony Richardson starts, then he's probably a borderline QB1. If Joe Flacco starts, then Josh Downs is a wide receiver 2. We already talked about what he is with Richardson. If Taylor starts, you start him. If Taylor doesn't start, I'm probably starting Sermon as an RB2.
Anything else here? Alec, did you talk about Alec Pierce?
Well, we did it earlier when we talked about the quarterback situations.
Yeah. All right, Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. Your thoughts?
I am starting Najee Harris if Jalen Warren's out. If Warren's back, they're both flexes. Alexander Madison's also a flex. I'm starting Jacoby Myers and probably George Pickens too. I'm starting Brock Bowers and probably Pat Freiermuth too. Justin Fields is a QB2.
I mean, it sounds like you're starting a lot of players in this game.
Well, Bowers and Myers are the only, and I guess Najee, if Warren's out, are the only guys I actually have ranked as starters. Madison's a flex. I guess Freiermuth's a low-end starter.
Okay. Yeah, I think there are like a lot of low-end starters in this game.
Yes.
Pickens, Najee, Freiermuth, the Steelers, basically. All right, and the Chargers are at Denver. This
could be the grossest game of the season. I am not very excited about starting anyone. Dobbins and Javonte are both low-end RB2s. Sutton and Ladd are both low-end wide receiver 3s. I would probably start Bo Nix over Justin Herbert, which is super gross, but he's been better.
The only team with fewer gross passing yards per game than the Chargers?
The Broncos?
Patriots.
The Patriots.
But I mean, that's really eye-opening, as the Chargers are the second worst isn't the right way to say it, but just in terms of being prolific, second worst passing team in the NFL, second fewest gross passing yards per game in the NFL.
They're gross passing yards for sure.
And Cleveland's at Philadelphia.
Oh, I think my favorites, like you're starting Jalen Hurts, you're starting AJ Brown, you're starting Dallas Goedert, you're starting Saquon Barkley. Devontae Smith, I've got ranked as a wide receiver 3, but you're probably starting him also. Start your Eagles. I think Jerome Ford's my favorite Brown, but he and Amari Cooper are both borderline number 2s at their position. If Nick Chubb came back, you would start him. Watson's, what's that?
Joku?
We are not currently ranking him, but if I did, it would be somewhere in the 10 to 15 range at tight end.
Do you have more faith in Dallas Goedert relative to his position than Devontae Smith relative to his?
Well, yes, because at tight end right now, it takes about 7 fantasy points to be a starter. Yeah. like we're not really even talking about sitting Kyle Pitts and Dalton Kincaid, and they're averaging 8.1 and 7.5 PPR fantasy points.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break and read your questions here on FFT Express when we come back. We are reading questions. Pickens or Wan'Dale Robinson?
Entirely determined by the status of Malik Neighbors. If Neighbors is back, then I would go Pickens.
Najee Harris or Tank Bigsby?
It entirely determined by the status of Jalen Warren. But I'm probably and Travis Etienne. If assuming that everybody plays, I'm probably starting Najee.
Madison, Spears, or Christian Watson. I don't know that Christian Watson's going to play. I know he practiced yesterday, but Madison, Spears, or Christian Watson in PPR?
I will go Madison.
Tank Dell or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay
Johnson, pretty sure he leads the NFL in red zone targets. I think maybe red zone, green zone, and end zone targets, something like that. He's right up there. Would you trade Jordan Love for Tank Dell? Jaden Daniels is my starter.
I would try to do better, but I also like I would probably rather have Dell, but I would try to do better.
Let's see, Sermon or Javonte Williams?
Javonte.
Ridley or Tolbert?
Tolbert.
That's fun.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Olave or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Definitely Thomas.
All right. That's it for Fantasy Football Today Express. Just want to remind you all, if you have start or sit questions, you can join us Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on youtube.com/fantasy football today. Also on CBS Sports HQ will be simulcast there. And then if that doesn't do it for you, at noon Eastern from noon to 1, we'll be answering your questions again. That's only on youtube.com/fantasy football today. So great ways to get your questions answered and your lineup set. For Heath Cummings, I'm Adam Azer. We'll talk to you tomorrow on FFT Express.